Hello everyone, I'm going to be starting out on the test server today for 9.22 update. I'm going to start out with the Object 268 version 4 here, the new tier 10 tank destroyer that's going to be coming out. This tank, I've released a couple videos today. Basically for the new tier 10s, I plan on making more, possibly, maybe later tonight or tomorrow. For the other new tanks and changes coming out, but more or less, for the start of the stream today, if you want to see any specific tank, right now a lot of people are just playing tier 10, but I can probably play, even like some of the new tier 8 and tier 9 tanks. Granted, it's going to be a little difficult to see how well they perform given that everyone's, including myself, chucking a lot of premium rounds out. Basically everything you get hit by is a premium round. But if you didn't see my video in the Object 268 version 4 here, things got pretty insane armor. More or less, there's only a really small spot in the very bottom of the lower glacis and about 255 millimeters effective armor on the cupola right in the center here, and a very small strip of a cupola on the other side that you can actually penetrate. The rest of it is over 300 millimeters effective. But basically, a lot of these new tanks have a lot of armor. Yes, I will say some of them probably are a little bit too good, unless you stack them up against like some of the newest tanks, say like the Badger, Super Conqueror. So unless tanks get buffed up to that, these tanks, I do feel like are a little bit too good for a lot of other tier 10s that are going to have to face them. The Object 268 here, it's really fast. It's basically the fastest of the heavily armored tank destroyers at tier 10. I might actually get myself in some trouble here, but it's the test server, so I kind of like to toy around with things. But basically, the closest comparison I could really find is comparing it to the T110E3 or the Badger. It does play differently than those, given that, this tank doesn't have a lot of gun depression. Goodbye, Mr. Super Conqueror. One thing of note, this tank, I did paint some of my tanks weird colors, yes, since it's a test. It only has a 650 damage gun. It does not do 750 damage like a lot of other tier 10 tank destroyers. That is one thing to keep in mind if you're facing one of these. And the overall penetration, it's still pretty damn good when it comes to pen, but it is slightly, gimped because the accuracy on it is not all that good. Now that guy gets penned me right in that lower glacis weak spot. That's about 230 millimeters effective. Ooh, he's actually angled pretty damn well here. Not well enough though. Nice to see everybody though. As far as tank requests, you can request tanks. I probably will at least do an hour on the live server, possibly like an hour and a half or so, but I did want to start out and play all of the new tanks here coming out next patch during the start of the stream. Do have to be careful. Oh god, yeah. Now I can pen that other 268. Come on, there we go. I can pen him on the superstructure. There's a decent chance, like 60% chance to pen him on a superstructure if I use a heat round, which there's so many tanks with armor floating around. That's really all people are going to be shooting here. But as far as tank requests, if you want to request a standard tank, feel free to do so. If you want to see one that's a new tank for 9.22, you can also do that, and I'll play it on the test server here. But it's a little bit hard testing armor out. Luckily for my videos, I got a couple decent matches kind of showing some bounces and stuff, but the armor is really hard to take into account when you have so many, like 300+ millimeter rounds floating around. My ping, it sits at about 140 milliseconds, which is much better than previous test servers. However, I do get some pretty bad packet loss sometimes. Like when I was playing during my Object 430U video, I was getting a lot of packet loss, so it was actually really difficult for me to, that guy just killed me of course, the side scrape. Hello Cucumber, and Axis for Wood, and Floyd, Meow, everybody else got popped in. I know I missed, you know, a few of you guys. It's a little bit too many for me to rattle off, but decent match here. Hopefully we win, but mainly I'm just, you know, I'm trying to show off, you know, the new tanks here for you guys in case, you know, I would recommend going on the test server is nice so you can actually see what tanks you want. Now, you know, the Object 430 version 4, I'm just going to glance over some stats here. I might go into more depth if anybody has any specific questions, but 650 damage per shot, unlike most 750 damage tanks, but 293 for the pen is still pretty damn good. However, the premium pen is a little bit lower, I believe, than some other TDs. But 5 degrees of gun depression, and the armor is pretty damn good. I was going to try to bring up, I can bring up battle hits here to show where things actually penetrate at me. Like this is a weak spot on it. This guy penned me, or that was a heat round, which that went through over 330 millimeters of effective armor like that. Same with this. So, you know, it's not immune to premium rounds, but it definitely has quite a bit of armor on the lower plate here, unless you hit it on the very bottom part. And then this is still pretty strong, but there is a chance for it to actually penetrate you there. So let me hop into the Object 430U here. That's my first tank request here for the live server. But basically, you know, there were fears, like, I still don't think that they should have switched out the Object 263, because the Object 268 version 4 you just saw there, it was an actual design. It's not a completely made up tank by Wargaming, but they had to buff its armor so much that it would have been better being the tier 9, where they dropped the 263 to. And the 263, they actually didn't have, they could have buffed the side armor a little bit more to what it should have had. I believe it could have gained, it was either like 20 or 30 millimeters on the side. That would have helped. And, you know, they could have just buffed the lower plate a little bit. So, you know. Hello, Merlin and Jeffrey. Out of the 3 new tanks, I would say it's probably a tie between, it's hard to say. I do think, honestly, they're not, I wouldn't say they're as good as the Badger and the Super Conqueror. I will say that I do think those 2 tanks are better than these. As far as, you know, when it comes to thinking, are these tanks going to power creep stuff? I think the Badger and Super Conqueror did a lot worse than these do. I'll probably say all 3 are good tanks. The one that I probably would enjoy most, honestly, it's probably going to be the Tank Destroyer. Even though I don't really like a ton of TDs, the thing is probably, for the high tiers, the least Tank Destroyer like Tank Destroyer that doesn't have a turret on it, if that makes any sense. It feels like a medium tank with a crap ton of armor on it, if that makes, yeah. Really, it's hard to describe it, but that's probably the tank that, when I was popping around trying to record some videos today, that was the tank. This is actually gonna hurt if I can't get out of the way. That was the tank to where when I popped into it, I'm like, this is fun. After that, though, I would probably say it's a tie between the 430U here and the 705A. The 430U, it does look like it's going to be a pretty good tank, but I will say out of the 3, it probably is the most balanced, only because of the gun handling on it. But when it comes to like the heavy line, I haven't actually played, like I want to make videos for it yet, but I will say I haven't actually played a tier 8 match or a tier 9 match. I've only played the tier 10s yet. The pen on this though, I do have a couple, for any tier 10s I do have videos out of them. It's 252 and then 340, so the pen on this is a little bit low when it comes to standard. The accuracy is pretty poor too, but it has 440 alpha compared to the usual 320 for a Russian medium. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pin him. I'll at least track him. But this is basically like in the video I reviewed this tank on. I like to use the term like pocket heavy tank because it's basically take a take a Object 907. I kind of like the armor scheme on this a little bit better. I think it's easier to use and just as strong as the 907s for most situations. Basically take a 907, make it slower, give it, you know, 440 damage gun, lower the pen a little bit, I believe, and then lower the DPM and accuracy. So you have some trade-offs, but in the grand scheme of things, this tank, you know, it feels pretty nice. Just looking at the stats, you know, I haven't played the tier 9 or 8 yet. I will pop into them before, you know, I pop over onto the live server. It looks like, you know, just from glancing, that possibly, you know, I don't think the Object 257, which replaces the T10, it does have slightly better armor. I don't think it's going to be that big of a change between the two, but I had to play it before I can actually make a informed decision. But just looking at it, I'm like, why'd they replace it? Because it has a little bit better armor on the upper plate, but not like mind-blowing amounts. And the lower glacis is a little bit stronger, but it's not enough to actually protect you against most tanks that you face. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say whether or not that tank will actually mean much with the changes happening. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pen him unless I somehow hit him on the cupola. This, yeah, it's kind of like, say, a 907 and what is it, a 113, I think the medium is? I forget. The Chinese tier 10 medium. It's kind of like those two tanks kind of, you know, combined. I don't want to say have a baby together because that would be weird. But I do like this. I just think out of the three, this probably has the most drawbacks for like its intended role. Granted, heat does cover up a lot of that, you know, because the accuracy kind of hinders this in DPM. But it's still hard to tell because, like, when I was playing earlier, like, I played right when the test server first opened. Like, the entire battle was all these new tanks with tons of armor. So it's a little bit hard to, you know, get a full glimpse of how these are actually going to work when all you're facing are these tanks with an insane amount of armor. And everyone's throwing premium rounds and just driving around, like, derping around and stuff. But, you know, so far, they are all... Oh, that guy actually escaped, holy hell. They are all pretty damn good tanks. Hello, Poser and GG. Nice to see you guys. Battle Hits is a mod, it just shows you where you get hit in a battle after your battle. Which I kind of did look to see if they did implement any new tanks, because I'll show the tech tree. They still don't have 2 tier 10s that they plan on implementing. They probably won't be ready for this patch, but there's a small chance we'll see them in the second version of the public test server here for 9.22. But as of right now, they did not add any any new tanks into the game, which I did get the next French heavy to answer that question. But pretty decent battle here. Top damage, almost 4,000. You know, as far as block, not too much, and 1,400 assist. Looking at, since this tank, you know, basically all the tanks are, not that I got shot much, they are based around armor. This does have the standard like Russian medium weak spot to where high pen rounds can pen you in this area. So that's where that Shrev 103 beat hit me. I was a little bit angled here, and he did punch through there as well. Lower plate is weak on this, and then yeah, he didn't actually hit me there, he just hit my gun. So let's move on. I don't, it's just, you can find it in Aslan's mod pack. Let's see, I've played the TD, played the medium. Why don't I hop into the tier 10 heavy, and then I can I'll try some other tanks out. But as far as the coming soon tanks, they haven't added anything new in, so it's still kind of, as far as the heavy tank, it could possibly be the Object 777 version 2 still. Hello AR-15, nice to see you. Good game to you as well. But yeah, you know, they haven't added any new tanks in, so you know, unfortunately couldn't sneak a peek at what they plan on adding. Alright, and ELC. I was gonna say, as far as tank requests, you know, you guys can feel free to request tanks. I will pop over to the live server, you know, after I kind of get a look at the new tanks in 9.22 for you guys here. Now, the Object 705A here, it does have a slightly hard time, given that, you know, it can't fight over hilly terrain all that well. But it's got a pretty good amount of armor frontally. Really, the lower glacis is kind of the only weak spot on it. But it will be tough, you know, for tier 8, tier 9 tanks to deal with this. Now, your mobility is pretty good. It's slower than the Object 268 version 4 that you saw, the TD. That's where, when asked what I like the best out of the new tanks, the TD I like because it has a little bit of speed behind it. This isn't a slouch when it comes to speed, but it is a little bit slower. This tank's intended role is, it's going to be better than the PZ7 as far as, like, looking at the pen here, it's actually pretty low, 256 and then 310, which is still high, but 310 is a little bit low for a premium round when it comes to heat. This is going to be a better side scraper, so reverse side scraper, kind of, you know, say that there's a, you know, a corner here, you can pop out of this a lot better than a PZ7 because you don't have a turret bulge weak spot. So it's going to be better at that than the PZ7. And the gun, 650 damage if I'm not mistaken, just like the new tier 10 tank destroyer, to where it does hit a little bit harder than it as well. So it's a little bit of a spin on a tank that we already kind of have, but it's a pretty effective spin at that. You know, very solid armor to where, outside of if you show your lower plate not angled, you're going to be able to bounce some stuff in this. I'm tempted to push out to this rock just to get shot a ton, but I kind of hesitated and I lost kind of my early chance there. Hello Pesmed. See you, Cucumber, thanks for stopping by. Outside of the Russian, you know, tank reworks and stuff, though, there's not too much else, you know, coming in the next patch. There are some changes to matchmaking, but nothing, you know, out of this world different. It's mainly just making sure if you want to see encounter battles and assault battles, then you'll see them a little bit more often than you already do. Ichi will still hurt, and I just got penned by 705A. I don't know where he penned me. He might have actually hit me here, because you can overmatch this sometimes if you have a specific caliber gun. Hello Abdul, nice to see you. I have to keep an eye. There's tanks behind me. don't think my team is gonna make it out of the south here. So far we've done decent, but please don't shoot me. I'm gonna hope that this mouse kind of works as a little bit of... Oh god, he's aiming at me. Works as a little bit of armor here. Now, yeah, this will be interesting to where, with all these new changes and balances that Wargaming's doing, I noticed a few tanks, I think it was the Object 263 specifically, like, some premium rounds actually don't have that much more penetration. Say like this one, it has 310. They could have given it like 340, stuff like that, and nobody probably would have batted an eye. It seems like on some tanks they are trying to balance premium penetration a little bit. However, adding a lot of these tanks with a crap ton of armor does hurt like tier 8s and 9s quite a bit, or tanks that don't use premium rounds. To where I'm curious to see if, in the grand scheme of things, Wargaming does do like some massive rebalance to like other nations down the road, and kind of, you know, say tweaks tanks and kind of buffs them up to some of these newer tanks that they're adding into the game. I might regret this. Yeah, replace might by definitely. Don't hit me. I've gotten shot by a few teammates. It seems like either people on a test server or Russian players have a little bit itchier trigger finger than NA players. But the 705A, I think it will be a pretty good tank. It is going to be difficult fighting on hilly terrain, and also if you're against tanks with a lot of armor, it will struggle a little bit as well. But in the grand scheme of things, it's got a crap ton of armor on the front, and it's really good at side scraping overall. But basically with this rework to the Russian tank tree, they're probably not going to have to tweak it after this to where Russian tanks, they'll have a little bit of everything if they press harder. Well, I mean, they'll take riskier shots. Like, I've gotten shot by quite a bit of teammates when they're like trying to thread a shot. Or they're shooting me on purpose, but who knows. But it'll be interesting to see. Right now it's rumored that the other non-announced tier 10 medium, it's going to of course have a rear mounted turret, but it's not going to be fully 360 degree 360 degree rotation on it. And then the tier 10 heavy, I think it's the Object 777, but you know, it could turn out to be something different. But not a great match on my part. I pretty much just sat there and got shot for most of the battle. Looking at where I did get shot, like that was an HE shell. He critted me and penned me there, but you know, I should have gotten damaged on the side anyway. Now he critted me right in the viewport. This damaged me. Okay, so that was the overmatch by the WZ-111-5A, to where this is thin enough to where if you have a pretty high, say over 120 millimeters, if you're using like heat, but specifically higher caliber, like 130 plus, you can damage this if you're firing down into it. But, you know, actually getting a shot on there is another thing. Got damaged again here by a heat shell. It looked like that might have been in the same thing, in that thinner armor there. And then didn't pen me here, and again there. So there are weak spots on these tanks, but they are kind of exclusive to premium shells. So that's one thing of note. If you want to see like more specific like armor breakdowns and stuff, I do have a video up of each of the new tier 10s up on my channel on YouTube. Stula, I can add the Leopard Prototyp. I will say, you know, right now I'm on the public test server to where it is going to take me a while to get to the tank request I have up here. Like, I'm probably spending at least the first hour on the test server today. But as far as, you know, between those lines, if you're asking which ones you could probably go for, like, I have the E50M, Leopard, and STB1. My favorite grind out of all of them it was probably the E50M line, out of all of them there. Hello, Sasuke. Nice to see you. Alright, so we got a tier 9 match here. Obviously, a lot of people want to test the heavy tanks, as you can see, the Object 257. I'm playing the Object 263, which, you know, was down tiered. I kind of mentioned, you know, standard pen here 270, and then it has an APCR shell, 300 millimeters of pen here. I think it was, I'll have to take a look, I think the Object 430, I think it was, so the new tier 9, it got down tiered. I believe that only has like 10 more millimeters of penetration on the premium round, but I could be wrong. But essentially the Object 263, they didn't change too much for this. You know, they just kind of toned it down a little bit, but more or less it's going to play the same. Lots of armor on the upper plate, pretty good amount of armor on the superstructure with a couple little holes around the mantlet, and the lower glacis, you know, a little bit weaker, I think it still is. I don't think they buffed that. Which, one thing I did note in that first battle, I forgot to mention, the Object 268 version 4, I didn't think it was going to be that good of a tank. It didn't look like it statistically. The accuracy on that thing is very misleading. It's much better than you might think because the aiming time is actually pretty good, and the on-the-move accuracy doesn't basically make the accuracy bloom all that much. We're going to get clobbered over here. I'm at least going to pull back so it takes them longer to flank me. I might actually switch to HE after this. Bear me. I need to get back farther. No, I could actually hit his, oh god, he's actually pushing. Right on the upper plate, 15 damage. Thanks, GG, for the challenge. I'm guessing you would like me to wait because, honestly, it could be a little... Ooh, I actually set him on fire there. He actually doesn't have a fire extinguisher either. Hello, Loki. And I think I said nice cuppa. If not, I forget. I have really bad short-term memory. But yeah, the Object 257, I'm surprised I guess bounced that. The side armor on it, it's alright, but I guess I hit kind of the angled bit. It is much better, I will say, even though I don't think the armor's, at least frontally, that great over the T10. I just hit him in the track there. The side armor is much better. Basically, it's tier 9 version of an IS-7. Hit him in the track again. I'm not getting good luck there. I am trying my best, and unfortunately I am stunned. I'm trying my best not to get flanked. I might regret pushing into this guy here. Crap. That's on me. I shot his side when he basically angled back into auto bounce angle. But the 263, even though it's moved down a tier, it still feels close to kind of its tier 10 mark. You're not... I was like, you're not getting closer to me. I'm going to track you. I am doing a really bad job aiming here, and I can't even blame it on, I can't blame it on lag. That was a really poor HE shell on my part. Alright, I will say that his upper plate, you know, given it is pretty heavily angled. The other one got me. I can bounce off of that, but that was just... I did so poorly there. Bounced 3,000 damage though. 1,000 damage, 1,500, but that was pretty poor marksmanship on my part. Alright, so let me add the ultimate challenge here from GG. That way I don't forget about that. But yeah, I deserve to die that one. I believe it was, yes, so it's this tier 9 object 430, 238 millimeters pen for the standard AP, only 248 for the APCR. So it's, to me, something like this is what wargaming should do for premium rounds. Like AP and APCR have a little bit of normalization difference. So for anyone that doesn't know what normalization is, it takes a little bit of the angle off of angled armor. To where having premium rounds, say like this had 20 more millimeters of pen, I feel like most people could get behind that if it was closer as far as the spread between standard and premium. So let me hop into an object 257 here. Now the main difference is, it definitely looks different than the T10. Let me just exit here real quick. Of note is the side armor. It does have, I believe, it's similar to the IS-7 to where it does have some side space armor if I'm not mistaken. But if you kind of look at the side, it very heavily angles into the center of the tank here. So it's very misleading, and it is pretty difficult to penetrate on the side if you're not careful. But frontally, the lower plate, I believe it sits at about 198 millimeters effective armor. So you still can pen it, with like tier 8s and stuff, as long as it's not angled. If it is angled, then of course you would want to shoot the flattest, like upper glacis spot for the most part. Just trying to pull up this tank as far as the side armor. Just so I'm not spewing out wrong information here. So the side armor, yes. Looking at the tank, 218 millimeters effective on this bit. This is spaced armor to where it's only 30 millimeters, but it kind of hides. It's 65 millimeters behind that. It starts angling into the tank. So it sits at about, let's see, it sits at about 174 millimeters effective armor on the side. So you can actually angle this tank just a smidgen to where this still stays pretty tough. And against like 8s and 9s without using premium shells, you can bounce things to where they won't be able to penetrate you very well. T10 versus the Object 257. It's hard to tell. I'd have to compare the two. But I can do that after this battle here. It's where, like, I'm either going to do it after the live stream tonight, if I have time and I'm not, like, beat, or I'm going to do it tomorrow where I'm going to put up standalone videos for the tier 9 and tier 8 tanks. Hello, Russian dude. At least I think you're Russian. This T49 might add me here. But from first glance, this basically, it's got more armor than the T10, of course. And it's a little bit slower, to where the T10 is basically the slightly slower, but, more brawly type. Or Object 257 is, excuse me, I think I just said T10. But I'll pull them up in a comparison after that, or after this battle here. But I definitely need to use the server side aiming here. Given it helps me kind of if I get packet loss, I'll see my aiming circle just is not moving and I'm like, well, I can't shoot anywhere. guy's probably gonna get himself in trouble if he pokes out one. Nope, not at all. Okay, he's trying to side scrape, but he's angling too much considering they're probably shooting premium rounds at him. I would say against these guys, if I can do it correctly, you only want to angle just a smidgen. Could be wrong now. I'm probably just going to end up hitting my own guy here. They both just fired, but I just hit, you know, it's the same tank I'm in, and that was a standard APCR shell. You know, I guess penned the lower plate, and that was a little bit angled to where it still does have kind of a juicy lower plate, to where it's definitely not like the tier 10 tanks that they released, to where they're extremely heavy on the armor in the front, where there's not very many weak spots. The lower tier ones do have viable weak spots because they do face, you know, a lot more like tier 7, tier 8 tanks, stuff like that. Alright, we're tied here, but it does not feel like we're tied with how many people we don't have elsewhere in the map. Crap, maybe I should go... Maybe I should start firing a little bit of heat here, because I would have killed him with that. Or I probably should have Ichi, to be honest. Alright, here comes their 705. I've got some HP, so I'll make the leap here. Pop goes the 705. That's where, like, I'll admit it, like on the test servers I throw a lot of gold, but it's something that unless Wargaming does something like they do on the sandbox servers sometimes and limit the gold that you can actually buy or just disable premium shells, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, justify not using them. Thanks for tipping Levi a biscuit. Who should I shoot? Aha, he is reverse side scraping. Too bad there's a pillar there. Fade off of me. With him using heat, I was just hoping he would kind of miss again. Now, just for note, I'm going to shoot him there. Granted, I shot him a little early. Trying to shoot him on the side armor. I knew that was going to bounce. But basically shooting this tank when it's angled, you can see the hole, how it's very heavily in from this bit down. You're not going to want to shoot that unless you're basically looking at it straight on and you're shooting in between the track and the space armor, because it is very strong. Hello Israel, nice to see you. So I'm hoping Levi is actually kind of awake here. I'm gonna leave it next to him there. He had a little bit of a rough day. Huh, that's strange, Pez. Thanks for letting me know that. I'll take a look, make sure I didn't mess up anything afterwards. But decent battle, Confederate award. This guy did an excellent job. 3,400 damage though, and not too much blocked. Looking at where people pen me on this, since a lot of people are going to play this for the armor. You know, lower plate, almost lower plate, but more or less I was angled here to where you're better off most of the time shooting here. Critical hit, track, missing the lower plate because it is kind of like a diamond shape. Lower plate, you're kind of seeing a trend here. Angled, shoot there. This was a heat that missed my lower plate, and that ricochet, he was trying to hit me here, but he ricocheted off here because the hatches on this are pretty small to hit. So actually hitting them and penetrating them, you know, is a completely a different story. Now let's add that to the comparison, and also the T10 to the comparison. So the Object 257, let me just fix I like to do everything 100% cruise, no equipment, and take the paint off, just so it gives you like a very like stock look, making sure that's configured properly, right? Russian bias? I wouldn't say it's Russian bias, but you know, wargaming would be stupid if they didn't cater to the Russian crowd, to where it has been quite some time since they've reworked the Russian line, so I don't blame them for that. Whether or not all the tanks are balanced or not, we'll find out by, you know, the time these tanks hit the live server. Alright, so looking at the Object 257 against the T10, 257 a little bit less penetration on the standard round. Looking over at the premium round, 340 for the penetration, and then the T10 I believe is the same at 340. But when it comes to DPM, T10 a little bit more DPM, more accuracy, better aiming time, same gun depression, but the T10 is slightly more towards the front, so it's a little bit better for the most part. So T10 has the better gun here. The main difference you're going to find, of course, the T10 has a little bit worse armor. I would say the turret, you know, and basically across the tank, it does have worse armor. But the T10's armor is just it's a very small amount weaker on the front than the Object 257, if I'm not mistaken. The main difference is the 257 has a lot better side armor. So looking at the mobility here, it's pretty close on the raw values here. So specific power, the 257 beats the T10 out, which is surprising. Top speed on the T110 is the same as well. So honestly, I'm kind of surprised the 257 isn't slower than the T10. I think they might change that because the T10 is kind of meant to be kind of the fast heavy tank with a little bit less armor. So I'm actually really surprised the 257 actually sweeps the floor outside of the T10 weighing more, or weighing less. It sweeps the T10 as far as you know, mobility goes. Camouflage is a wash. T10 a little bit better V range. So looking at this, I'd honestly say the Object 257 is better. If it was slower, I would say you would have a better you know, kind of comparison between the two, to where whether you should pick one over another. I would say the 257 is definitely better than the T10. Alright, so I have another tank request there. Again, anyone requesting tanks, I'm only going to be able to get to them kind of after you know, I do the test server here. Alright, so I've played quite a bit of them. Why don't I hop into the IS-4M and see if I can get a match. This tank, honestly, it looks ugly. Or it's ISM. I thought it was the IS-4M, but you know, ISM makes a little bit more sense because it honestly does not look like an IS-4 whatsoever. I was a little bit confused when they were, you know, teasing tanks. The ISM though, you know, who knows how this is going to play out. I haven't looked too much into this tank yet, so we'll see how it actually works out here. I'm going to pull up the armor over here so I can get a little glimpse of it before I get into the battle. Looks like Levi found his biscuit here. Alright, so looking at the ISM's armor. So for tier 8 heavy, I would say it's pretty good. The lower plate's actually about the same effective armor as the Object 257, you know, the tank that replaced the T10. So the ISM, 196 effective armor on the lower plate. So tier 6s, tier 7s, gonna have a tough time to pen it. Premium shells though, and of course higher tiers can pen it. Upper plate, 260 millimeters effective. So tier 10s, premium shells from 8s and 9s will be able to cut through it, but effective against, you know, most things at its tier and below. The upgraded turret, you know, again, it's around like a 250-ish towards like the center near the mantlet, where most weak spots you can find on the turret front on tanks. And then the cupola, just a small little cupola back here, 150 millimeters effective. And then just kind of take a look. I know you guys can't see it, but this kind of fits in with the Object 705 and 705A, to where with the rear turret, it has a pretty good amount of side armor. So once you get on the side, 120 millimeters on the side here, to where this area that wraps around will be a weak spot, kind of angling and side scraping. But if people miss that, you can get enough on your front armor and your side armor to where tier 10s will bounce off of you. So if you're looking at this angled, you're going to be able to penetrate it here and basically the closest area here. But if people don't hit you here, or if you side scrape right and keep this in, they're not going to be able to penetrate, you know, your front, and your side's going to be really strong as well, to where they're only going to be able to pen you then on the turret front or this very small cupola here. Alright, so I'm in a tier 10 battle here. We'll see how this goes. Again, this is the first time I am playing this. 76 or 57 millimeter gun on the T-34. I like the 57 millimeter better on that tank. Alright, so just off the bat, this is much slower than, say, the tier 9 and 10, but that's kind of to be a given. I've always looked at this tank as kind of much like the AMX 65T that they implemented. This is kind of not the worst tank. I don't think it's as bad as the AMX 65T, but it's definitely the, you know, the least lackluster tank that they're releasing for the rear turret Russian heavies. The gun though, once I not kill myself getting down here, you know, 390 damage a shot, 212 pen, and then only 240 millimeter pen, and again 390 for the premium APCR. So another tank where it does look like they're trying to balance premium rounds when you see that difference in penetration spread. It's just all the new tanks to where when they have heat rounds, the heat rounds just blow, you know, the normal rounds out of the water, to where I'm kind of, you know, kind of hoping that they end up kind of tweaking heat down the road. That can easily damage this Udez. But yes, the 257's basically replacing the T10 heavy, and the T10's moving off to the side, still unlocked, you know, from the same tank, but they're releasing a new tier 10 heavy after the T10 down the road. Not right away, possibly by the second version of the common test here, but if not, it'll come in the World of Tanks 1.0 update coming in March, the new tier 10 heavies, or one heavy, one medium. Guy out a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. I should be able to pen, maybe. Nope, didn't pen him. See, that's something to where, you know, what is it again? 240 millimeters of pen. You know, it will be interesting because, you know, I do think premium shells should be tightened a little bit. Basically, if they don't want to take away the concept, just tighten the penetration difference between standard and premium, kind of like how it is on this tank. It will make dealing with some of the higher tier tanks, like the Type 4 and stuff, pretty hard to face when you're a lower tier. But, you know, in my situation there, I shouldn't have popped out in front of him, and I should definitely go fight something that I have a little bit better chance to pen. The 705 I should be able to pen if he's angled wrong, or if I penetrate him like on the lower plate if he's not angled. I just have to keep an eye because that ISN can pop up there and take a shot at me. So this patch that we see here, 9.22, this is slated to be released basically by mid to end of February. So say the second to third week of February, you're going to see this hit the live server. they're looking to release, I should have had a standard shell here. They're looking to release World of Tanks 1.0, so the HD maps and possibly, you know, filling out the last 2 tier 10 Russian tanks that aren't in 9.22. Possibly we might see Polish tanks, but they might save that and just do the maps and the graphic update. That's coming in March, so end of March most likely, to where it's a pretty quick turnaround. But that's Wargaming's kind of schedule right now. Whether or not they stick to that remains to be seen. But as far as this update, while it is pretty big, you know, switching the Russian tech tree like they are, it is, you know, feasible to where it's not like they're introducing like new graphics or new sounds or stuff. They're just introducing new tanks. So, you know, it could be a pretty quick test server to where this might only last, you know, say like a week and a half at most. And we might only get like kind of one update to it, instead of sometimes you might see like a third test version of a test server. Yeah, I remember, you know, WKC was my first clan ever in World of Tanks. I do have another kind of flashback video I made. I actually posted it on Discord. I just haven't released it since I knew I was going to today and probably tomorrow release a lot of videos for 9.22, so I didn't want to, you know, spam too many videos. Polish tanks, Attila. There's a couple articles about. Are you gonna shoot me? It looks like he's gonna shoot me. Yep, he's gonna shoot me. I don't know why Russian players like to do that. Or no, it's an EU player. I'm surprised. So basically what Wargaming's working for Polish tanks, kind of the rumors about it. So leading up to the war, they did develop some of their tanks. A lot of them were like tankettes, so like light tanks, small little things. They were leading up to, I believe, tier 4 or tier 5. They are actually Polish designs. I think 2 or 3 of the tiers are basically one project with basically different guns, engines, and stuff. So they are kind of like copies. Once you start reaching the mid tiers, basically from then on, they kind of swap over. So I'm going to hop into the object 430 now, I believe, because I've hit most of the other ones here. But this is the tier 9 object 430. But basically from tier 5 on, they are kind of Russian produced Polish tanks. So, or not, you know, Russia didn't produce them, but basically Poland did produce Russian T-34 85s, T-34 85Ms, I believe, too. T-44 is going to be in there, T-54, and also possibly a prototype of the T-55. So whether or not, you know, people can complain all they want about, you know, kind of Russian clones, but if you look at kind of the player base for World of Tanks, outside of, you know, say Russia at number 1, Poland is, I believe, the second largest. If you exclude the Chinese server, they're actually the second largest player base, I believe, for World of Tanks as far as, say, nationality goes. So Wargaming will, you know, it's kind of fan service, but, you know, I don't have any problem with it, to be honest. It doesn't hurt, you know, if you don't like clone tanks, then don't play them, you know. If anyone does want to see, you know, I'm gonna maybe pop into like the tier 10 tanks again, but if anyone does want to see like a specific tank on the test server here, like a new tank, you know, let me know and I'll try to get back to it here. Which, when I do pop over to my live account here, I did go from, you might notice in the titles, I believe I updated them. I went from 208 or 308 tanks to 328 tanks. I bought quite a bit of tanks today, given that they're having a pretty good sale on the NA server, and especially when you factor in 50% equipment and crew retraining. I took advantage of it and I stocked up on 20 tanks. I still have quite a bit of credits left over too, because I'd like to save a few. But I did update my tank request list. to where I tried reformatting it a little bit too. I haven't finished all the tiers, but I did, I believe, down to tier 6. I don't think, John, they already kind of went through with some of those changes. Like, basically the Object 140 and the T62A, they tweaked back, you know, a few patches ago to where they have a little bit different like accuracy and stuff on them, I believe. To where I don't think they're actually going to end up tweaking them any more than they are now. Like the 140, you know, it has the extra degree of gun depression. The front hull armor is actually a little bit better than the T62A, I believe. It's, you know, I forget. Don't quote me on that last bit about the armor. I forget specifics when it comes to it. But I actually don't think they're going to end up tweaking them that much, to be honest, anymore. Now, I don't have too much pen in the 430 here. I have a decent amount of armor, but if they hit my lower plate, I'm in trouble. Hello, Leonard. Another person without a fire extinguisher. You see it every single battle, and yet people, you know, still don't bring them into battles for some reason. Comes the Object 257. Again, this tank has a lot of side armor, which my team very kindly all went to the town here, so this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us here. Oh god. There's a lot of people behind me here too. I can't back up too much. I'm pretty much just gonna die here. And my turret's stuck. Oh my god. Take that. Yeah. Have fun in the town, people. You're all gonna lose. But I'm not too surprised. We have so many, you know, on the test server, everyone's trying to play the new tanks. So seeing that half of our team is heavies, I'm not surprised they all went that way. The T95s, though, I'm surprised that they all pushed that side. But basically, I did go over in my Object 430U video, kind of comparing 430U to the Object 140 and T62A. Like, they could still tweak the tanks a little bit, but, you know, looking at the 430 and T62A up against one another, they are, you know, virtually the same, except for a little bit better accuracy on the T62A and aiming time, extra degree of gun depression on the Object 140, of course, and then they have slightly, as far as the turrets and stuff, they're closer now, but, you know, slightly different turret values, and the hulls, I believe, might be slightly different as well, even though they do state that they have like 100 and then 80 on the front and sides. But in the grand scheme of things, they are very close to one another, but they could tweak them just a little bit more. But they haven't stated anything specifically. I almost wanted to bring this guy out here. Mainly because 395 millimeters of penetration for the heat with all these heavily armored tier 10s running around. But I'm going to do another round in the new tier 10s. Then after that, I'll probably pop over to my live account here and get started on the tank requests, which I actually had that scrolled in properly. Yeah, I kind of messed up my tank requests. Fix that. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But my first match I'll do on my live account, I'll do the Ultimate Challenge from GG to kind of start off that part of the stream. Yeah, Levi, he had a pretty fun day. He got to play with his neighbor dog, who he's met a few times. It's a puppy, so he had a lot of fun. I'm just gonna double tap 2 now. What do you mean by that, Merlin? I'll head this way because there'll be a lot more carnage. Will I get a shot? You know, this tank with its really crappy... That's all me, I wait it too long. It's really crappy accuracy when it basically moving around here, it doesn't have really any bloom, you know, moving your gun moving around at full speed, to where 0.42 accuracy overall isn't that great, but in the grand scheme of things, the accuracy is still pretty darn good. Yeah, might as well just pop this way. Hopefully I don't get hit too much here. See if I can hit something at the corner. Nope. Good luck. Hello, Fang. Please, please don't spam like that, though. You will get timed out pretty quickly there. As far as tips, you know, learn your maps. That's the most important thing for tanks. And figure out where's the best spot to be, you know, at any given time. After that, you know, learning weak spots, learning your own tank strength and weaknesses, stuff like that. Yeah, nobody's there. Somebody had shot this little truck, though. Don't buy a tier 8 premium? Yes. I would say that is a pretty big mistake for newer players, is you definitely want to at least reach tier 8 first before you hop to a tier with a premium tank. Hello, Glenn. Trying not to get myself too far out here because I would like to be able to back up. Oh lord. Yes. The test server, like, I'm surprised, like, my ping is a little over 100, which isn't that bad. Like, I consider anything under 100 to be, you know, very playable. I do get a little bit of packet loss, though, which is a concern sometimes. Okie dokie, we're up by 4. Like, the mobility on this thing, this is where, like, as a TD with the amount of armor it has, the mobility is pretty damn awesome. I have 2 people waiting for me here. See if I can do something here. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to damage, but I'm just curious. I might just die here by a JPZ 100. Oh, bounced them. PZ7? I don't know if he fired or not, but I'm gonna go with he did. It's just, the thing has silly armor to where you can do stuff like that, and like, granted the JPZ didn't have a heat shell, but you're still capable of bouncing quite a bit of damage in this thing. And given the mobility and a pretty punchy gun, it's going to be a pretty fun tier 10 to play. Most people are throwing, like, the JPZ didn't throw it, but everybody else has hit me with premium. I'm just firing pure heat too, because usually on the test server that's all you really see. But that's because Wargaming doesn't, they give you a bunch of gold to kind of fiddle around with. Not like some sandbox tests where they restrict the amount of gold that you have. which I think is, you know, the better testing environment. YOLO. No. We're still gonna die. That was a pretty fun match though. Honestly, if you really want a shorter delay, go watch over on Twitch, but you know, when it comes to YouTube, it's about 20-30 seconds behind live. I think that's perfectly acceptable because it's not like I read comments rate as they get typed in as well. Anyway, most amount of damage in the match here, 3,700. Pretty good amount of blocked as well. Looking at this armor again here, as far as the result, I'm going to go for the, you know, ricocheted from the JPZ. You know, this guy kind of bounced off there as well. You'll notice, you know, it's got pretty good armor, but where things penetrate me, side, very, again, like the first match, this very angled bit here, there's a little line that you can tell the difference between the two. This guy pumped a heat shell through the thicker bit, but even that's not like 100% pen for a tier 10. So to switch things up, you know, before I pop into the heavy again, let me play the 430U. Then I'll pop into the tier 10 heavy. After that, I'll swap servers back to the live version. Hello, Unknown and Baron. Thanks, Jim Peters. I'm glad you like my site. I'm working on, you know, with this, once I get through the extra videos that I have to do for the 9.22 update here, I should be able to start doing more stuff on Wakguru. Like today when I was waiting for the test server, I almost finished updating my tank request list for the stream here to where I should be able to, basically for the Russian tanks coming out, I'm going to update my which tank line is right for you guide. But I spent a ton of time on that, updating it a few weeks ago, or no, a month ago at this point, to where it's much easier for me to update now. So it actually saves me a lot of time. I do not need a one-bedroom apartment. I hate Facebook sometimes. It's like, there's a one-bedroom apartment up for sale. No, I don't need one. The Fury, basically, yes, it was tied to the movie. Once I hop over to the live server, you know, so basically 9.21, not the test server, I have tank requests here. I'm going to be doing them. I will say, you know, for anyone that did miss the stream and is just joining in, if you want to see more about the 9.22 test here and the new tanks, if you're watching on YouTube, you can rewind all the way to the beginning of the stream here, even if you just joined in. Hence why, you know, YouTube has a little bit longer delay. I have it set up for better quality and kind of a DVR rewind. Which I did forget to start a raffle, so let me start that here. Since I started on the test, I'll start out with 1,000 Levi biscuits for the winner here. You know, that's, you know, it's an opinion, Merlin, but when it comes to, you know, premium tanks and World of Tanks, they do reskins sometimes. However, you know, most premium versions do, you know, have different stats. That way they're not just, you know, literally the same tank, and it gives people, you know, a slightly more of an incentive to buy them. Whether or not they're better or worse, you know, just like a different take on a tank. Take like the Laza's M4A2 Sherman they recently released. Virtually, you know, it's the same as tanks we already have. Honestly, they didn't even sell that many. And Wargaming actually has come out officially and said, when it comes to like the VK168 Mauer breacher, that actually did not sell nearly as well as they wanted it to. That's partially because the VK101P is a little bit overpowered for its tier, in my opinion. But, or not overpowered, but a little bit too good for tier 8 heavy. It's more tier 8.5. But you know, releasing the same premium tank as the tech tree, you know, it just doesn't get people to buy it. I'm gonna get absolutely crushed here. I'm playing a little aggressive here since, you know, it is the test server. I'm mainly just playing to, you know, show off, say, armor and stuff, and little nuances on, yeah, he's gonna get me. But you'll notice the turret traverse on that, much lower than other Russian mediums. It does turn slower on the whole. Overall mobility is a little bit lower. Had I stayed back, I definitely would have been a better spot than I was there. But I honestly didn't expect to run into 2 other tanks there, to where they didn't even pop up. They were just kind of hiding back there. Still good amount of damage though. Hello, Stug King. As far as, let me get into this last one. If you want to see Levi, say that's probably the closest I can get right now. You can kind of see him in the corner. That's him in the bed. But if you want to see kind of a different view here, he's kind of sleeping right now. He's in the bed, way back, you know, behind me here in the chair. Thanks for tipping him a biscuit, though, Randall. And probably, I should say Randall and company, probably. You go, little buddy. You want a treat? I tried to set it up to where you can kind of see him over my shoulder, since usually he's in his bed. Sometimes he does sleep like right next to my computer tower though. In my opinion, as far as premium tanks, I think, you know, if they want the same, which, hello Jack, nice to see you there. If they do want them, you know, to not have preferential matchmaking, I think they should basically be on par with same tier tanks. That, you know, that can mean, say they have a premium, I'm just throwing it out there, say they have a premium Tiger, to where the tech tree does like 150 damage a shot and it has 1000 DPM. I know they're not real numbers. Say they have a premium version of the Tiger, they give it a slightly different gun, say a more historical gun instead of a higher top gun. It does like 120 damage per shot, but they give it like, say like 1250 DPM, something like that. I'm fine with, to where as long as it's within, you know, it has clear advantages and disadvantages compared to the standard tech tree tank, I'm fine with that. It's when, you know, say the Object 252U, stuff like that gets released, that, you know, that's definitely not okay with me. But for the most part, you know, recent premium tanks, and we should be seeing one within the next week across all servers, with the ELC Even 90, they kind of have toned it back a bit, to where honestly the ELC Even 90, outside of it being really tiny and having pretty good mobility, it's not that good of a tank for its tier. I would say that the tech tree version is better than it. He's throwing heat, and he's actually in a spot to where I cannot penetrate him. So I'm just gonna pull on back here, hopefully hit that guy. But he's nailing me in that lower plate. I'm doing pretty well. I hope you're feeling better, because I heard you had to go get surgery, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That's sad to hear, Wayne. I'm sorry to hear that. It's definitely a crappy time to lose, you know, not just a pet, but anything. Congrats, Arctic, on winning the raffle. Yeah. he actually got me a standard AP. I didn't angle enough there. Oh well. I'm surprised, like, playing on the test server, this is a little different than the NA server, but it seems like, you know, more people are trying to climb over stuff they can't climb over. They set up more to the south here. But, hello, William. Nice to see you. I'll give Levi another biscuit for you. You go, buddy. If he actually decides to get up. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you actually didn't have to, you know, you didn't actually like break something. That's nice to hear. Yeah, he'll decide to get up eventually. But anyway, you know, I played pretty much every single new tank on the 9.22 test server at this point. Where I'm gonna pop over to the live server now. You know, for anyone that did miss quite a bit of the 9.22 tanks I just played here for the first hour and 15 minutes of the stream, you can rewind on YouTube and, you know, take a look at them, or wait until I clip it out here afterwards. But I do have videos up of each of the new tier 10s at the very least. So let me just hop out of here. I'm just gonna pull up. Little buddy. I'm gonna pull up the standard. I thought I had a... Maybe I do have a toy here. Oh, it doesn't squeak. Good. Oh god, that's gonna be a little loud. Let's get that out of the way. Anyway. No, you're not. Fine. Oh, okay, you did break it. Well, that's good that you're gonna heal faster. Alright, so I'm gonna start out here. So I have an ultimate challenge by GG. So for anyone that, you know, hasn't caught the stream before, basically I'm going to have to play, looks like I got my tank reward stuff there, credit it to my account. We're gonna spin here, and whatever tank I get picked here, I have to do 2.5 times the HP total when it comes to damage, assist, and blocked, all combined together. Pull all this up here, spin the wheel here, and we got a tier 10 heavy tank. I think that's the same I got last time here. Last time I picked the mouse, I'll pick something different. I don't take tank requests and messages, Colt, but that was actually quite a while ago too. But let me get into tier 10 heavy. And I've got to pick from one of these. Last time I picked the mouse. I'll pick something different. Kind of excluding super heavies here. Why don't I go with the WZ-111 5A. So I'm going to have to do, as far as damage, assist, and blocked, all combined together here, I'm gonna have to get to 5,500. Well, sorry again to hear about that, Wayne. You know, at least, you know, 15 years old is, you know, it's definitely a long time for a dog to wear. Yeah, at least she had a happy life. I know, like Levi's kind of the first dog like that's mine, if that makes sense. Like we just got him 2 years ago to where he was Ryan's family's dog, and we kind of saved him from a crappy situation from another family member. But saying like my dad, he has all of his, like, you know, pictures of previous dogs and stuff. PESMED potential damage. That means you're taking the entire So say a tank carries 10 shells, each does what, 50 damage? You'll have 500 potential damage. Hopefully my math's right there. I tried to pick something easy. So basically it's the total amount of damage you can do with all the shells in a tank if they all roll average. Yep, I'm gonna switch it off of Levi here in a second. He's still kind of moving around. But thanks for letting me, never mind, I did switch it off. I thought I left it up there. You had me worried there for a second too. I was trying to leave it up when I was setting up in between servers here though. No problem, Pez. Hello, Palladium? Or Palladium? Oh lord, we have assault defense here. This, as my last battle went, can go very, very bad very quickly on this map. Okay, that sounds good, Floyd. I actually forgot that you had requested this, to be honest. Oh my god. I deserve that for sitting out there in this tank. Well, here goes my chances of probably winning this challenge. Given that most likely my team is not going to hold this area, so I've actually got to run away. And I hope I don't die here. I might actually, if I get really unlucky, die before I do any damage. Doesn't look like that now though. But the T-62A definitely has a great shot on me. It's just, yeah. You're gonna get me. I'm actually gonna die right here. Oh, I got lucky. Maybe. I'm used to test server play. I stupidly forgot that setting up on that corner I could get hit from the field that early. I was trying to get an early shot in and it backfired, but you might win because of this. But this is where, you know, when some of you guys, you know, not to say all my challenges, you know, I have an equal chance of winning. It's impossible for me to do that. They're not as easy as, you know, you might think, because one little stupid mistake like this in the beginning and I pretty much throw out most of my chances of actually winning. So, and I'm definitely playing with fire, kind of staying in this location because I can get hit from my left, and if I'm very unlucky I can die here by this E5. He can actually pen me. But unfortunately, assault defense, I really dislike playing this sometimes because your team doesn't really do a very good job at holding the center of the town a lot of matches. Okay. Also trying not to shoot my teammate, but this E5 has eluded me so far. It'd be very nice. I'm trying to shoot here, but I'm really... There we go. Alright, I don't need heat now. I was mainly keeping heat because I'm really afraid to sit out here for any length of time, because if I'm unlucky, like the T-62A there, if we can get him off, that would be awesome. Because I would like to move. This mouse is starting to creep up, and they have some tanks on my left still that could hit me if they position themselves in the right spot. But this is still going to be really hard. But one little mistake, you know, trying to 2.5 times your HP in a match it's no small feat, especially at tier 10. Especially on demand. Alright. Time to get myself back here. Our team is doing well, surprisingly. We are doing well. However, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this because I had to reach, what, 5,500? I'm definitely not going to be able to block that in this, no. I was in a pretty good spot, but if the E5 had heat, he would have, he actually would have killed me there. My problem is I do kind of need to take risks. I'll try to pop out here, but I might just spontaneously combust. Because there is no arty, I potentially can make this work, but if there's, say, one little hiccup here, which might come from this 183 that's on my right. But I don't think there's any way for me to block that amount in this tank. Even though I wanted to hit the other one. I don't want 42 damage. I want 5,000 damage. So far though, I definitely haven't hit the shots I wanted to, or needed to, at that. But at least I'm salvaging a 0 damage match into something here. You're most likely going to win now. There's not enough HP for me to actually get to this. I'm going to try to get more HP for my own sake, but yeah, I'm not going to have enough HP that I can actually get it via damage. Even blocked, I don't have enough time to block that amount of damage. Well, thanks, Pez. I would say for the start I had here, this was a pretty good comeback, but it was a really... crap, I shot the dead tank. It was a pretty bad match overall. Alright, so let me scratch that off. Hello, Samuel. Nice to see you. But yeah, I'll take that given I had a really bad start. .45 Colt. I honestly, I just unblocked him to where, I hate to sound mean, it's just, you know, I don't take messages for tank requests. It's not the first time I've asked him either. But, you know, when it comes to messages and game guys, you know, I've said it a few times to where if he's messaged me, sometimes I don't respond because, you know, live streaming, I don't like to, it distracts me a little bit. But if I am platooning, you know, that's where messaging me to platoon, if I am platooning, which I didn't tonight because of the test server, that's where, you know, it does make it easier for me to platoon with you guys. But when it comes down to it, you know, if I have like, say, 5 people messaging me, I'm not going to, you know, take time out of the limited amount of time I stream to answer messages via the stream. I can definitely answer them, you know, in the chat here. It's easy for me to talk, a little bit harder for me to type. I am glad our team won that. I honestly, you know, I did a really bad job there. I'm going to try my luck out over here. It could go really wrong considering they have 2 E25s. So they might put both of them out. Kind of out here. Also considering that our team is not sending really anybody over here. Problem with this, if they send the E25s over here, they're going to have a lot of room to work with to where we're probably not going to be able to see one, if not, you know, both of them if they have a spotter. So I'm actually really reluctant even to push it all here because, you know, we have a Churchill and an AT2 coming, but we kind of need it, say, like the T25 too, a Cromwell, like something that isn't just like me, a T37 and tier 5s over here. We could very much, you know, be looking at, you know, only a couple enemies over here, but the likelihood is they did send a fair good amount of their team this way, and they have TDs to back them up. I'm just holding out hope to like if I was the T-37, I would at least peek there, but yeah, that guy just said a fence broke. I'm just gonna hang back for a second. It's like I will take shots from here if there aren't a lot of enemies, because you are out of the range of their base. And a lot of times people that sit in the base there trying to snipe from far distances don't move out of the base, so they actually can't hit you. Already can still hit you though, so I do have to keep that in mind. So looking at this, he got hit by one tank over there. SPG missed him, but I didn't see any other shells come at him. You know, we could still very much die here very quickly, but just looking at that, I'm going with that we're not looking at too much over here. AT-37 sitting right behind someone is not good. Alright, they have people at the bridge. I need to push in here. Still not 100% safe, but it's a lot safer. Granted, I just got shot in the butt by a Churchill. A lot safer than sitting where I was. And I died. Oh well. That happens though. But if I had sat there, we just moved in, unfortunately. Took a guess, and they have people there, there, and they're already focused us. I don't think they put anybody in the town at all. Oh well, we definitely chose wrong there. But where I got shot at by that Wolverine, you're better off pushing forward, but unfortunately at that point it was just too late. So let me get into a grind here. Let me get a personal reserve going as well. Oops, kind of picked the wrong one there, but oh well. I wasted a 200%er. Alright, so a grind. Why don't I pop into my newest grind? I either have a meal here, but why don't I pop into, I need to pop I still need to actually kit this tank out, to be honest. Let me kit this guy out. Don't need that amount of premium rounds. And I'll hop into the AMX here. Whoops, wrong one. Try to do this as fast as possible. I just did a lot of this on the test server, so I have the motion down. Crew skills. I always do brothers in arms first. A lot of people disagree with me with that, but with the amount of crews I have, I'm not going to spend the amount of time to kind of retrain. Well, if you want End I'm Dead emoji, you could become a sponsor. It's one of the perks of being a sponsor. Otherwise, it is on Discord, but, you know, it's not on the live stream chat unless you're a sponsor. I have thought about, you know, there is some controversy going around. Like, I'm on the fence about it. YouTube changed their partnership requirements kind of retroactively. It was 2 days ago at this point. Basically, prior to be a YouTube partner, basically to monetize your videos, you had to reach 10,000 views. I attribute some of that, you know, it's kind of a low barrier of entry to why a lot of people do clickbait videos, not just gaming, but like say they eat Tide Pods. I think that's the trend now. So YouTube changed it. I disagree with how they did it because they are removing people next month if they don't meet the new requirements. The new ones are you need 1,000 subscribers, And also, I forget, it's like 240,000 minutes watched per year, like for the last 360 days, 12 months, something like that. Honestly, you know, that the watch time, it's not that much in the grand scheme of things. Like, I get almost double of that, and I'm not exactly like a gigantic YouTuber. I get double of that per month, just to put things in perspective. But I just disagree with them removing people that did have the partnership before that. But I have thought about, I could technically, Fussbot supports it, open up a, I think it's called Patreon. I'm sure people have seen it. I could open up one of those, and I believe I could do everything. Unfortunately, not the sponsor button or, you know, like the badge and the custom emojis. But I could open up one of those. I don't think I'm going to do it though, because I kind of like the sponsorship thing where you guys, you know, you get something from it. And you also get, you know, a multiplier to your Levi biscuits for watch time. Alright, I'm surprised he penned me with that. Oh Lord, please don't drop down on me. He's going to drop down on me. Just double checking that his friend is not there. Well, yes, basically the more people that do sponsor, I can make more emojis. I do have other ideas for some to like make you know, them interactive with the stream. It's just I only can make, you know, more as, you know, I get more sponsors. One way around that though is YouTube did set it up to where some people have done it to where you can say it costs money on your end, you know, the $5 a month, to where I could like say make 20 accounts and sponsor myself 20 times to get more emojis. And then, you know, you don't lose them if you lose those sponsors. You just lose the ability to edit them after you drop down a sponsor amount. But some people, I was reading on like a YouTube like streamer little group I follow, some people have done it. Unfortunately, this probably would have been a match I would be better off with. I'm using the 90mm gun, so you have less damage per shot, a little bit less DPM, but more penetration, and better accuracy. I would have been better off with the 105 here, but I think in the grand scheme of things, the 90 is the better gun, given that you're going to face 8s and 9s in this thing. Granted, you know, I am the streamer side of things, but, you know, when it comes to, like, Ryan, how she's kind of cool with, like, streaming and playing games and stuff, you know, if it's something that you like, there are much worse things that you can be doing than watching, you know, people streaming and, you know, sponsoring people that you do enjoy watching. There's a lot worse things available. That's the way, like, when Ryan and I, like, some people ask us, like, oh, why don't you do, like, this and this? We're like, that's not very good for you. Like, you know, say go out drinking all the time, like a lot of people do our age. Like, she's actually out at a bar, though, with her family. Her brother just bought his first house near us. So it was a pretty big day for him. They were just over here right before the stream, so they're kind of out celebrating that. It's a pretty big milestone considering he's been disabled his whole life. Born, you know, he basically is in a wheelchair for his whole life. So it's a pretty big deal. You know, it's definitely great on his part that he could you know, get to this point on his own, more or less. There we go. There's no downside to multi-streaming, if that's what you're asking. Outside of, you know, it is a little bit more multitasking as far as reading multiple chats, and sometimes it does bring a little bit of debugging. Like one stream, somewhat recently, Restream kind of messed up with YouTube, and it was only streaming to Twitch. So you do have a little bit more to keep an eye on. I kind of deserve that. Artie didn't hit me up till then, but I knew Artie was still a factor in this match. Aiming time is still god-awful on this tank. Unfortunately for us, like, we are up by 1, but I have no HP. I'm the top tier. I don't know if people expect me to push, but I'm not pushing anymore. Can't make me. Eat a ghost pepper live? No. I'm a chef, so I know that is not a very smart thing to do. I actually have a funny story about a kid in culinary school, though. Like, most people know when you cut like a very hot pepper, do not touch your face. And this kid obviously forgot about that and rubbed his eyes, and yeah. We're cutting habaneros that day. It's literally the first day too, and they go over it and everything, because like a lot of people in culinary school, you know, they don't know how to cook. They're there to learn, of course, because it's culinary school, but you know, me and the other people that are going in who have cooked before, we're like, how dumb can you be? Like, they just told you like 4 or 5 times, do not do that. The 57mm, I believe, Randall. I will double check for you after this, though. Afraid to push too far here, but yeah, I knew I could kill him potentially in one shot. Yep, the IKV got me. I should have seen that. I thought for whatever reason there's another building there, but no. Pretty good match on my part, though. I just hope they're able to finish this off. I might actually watch the end here. .44 request. You know, I would say no Arctic, because it's different. Like, if you're working in a kitchen professionally, I would say there's no true favorite thing like that you're making on your menu. Only because, you know, it is basically a job. I'm not saying I don't like cooking, it's just you have to look at it differently, because, you know, like when you're planning a menu, coming up with stuff, and then cooking it, it's basically a list of steps, and you follow that basically throughout the day. You do have to improvise sometimes, but more or less, I wouldn't say there's anything I enjoy over one or over another. I will say when I cook breakfast, since I've run the morning and day shift, the early shift, and my brother does the late shift, I really hate when I'm busy. I have to make, like, sometimes I have like, say, 12 eggs benedicts, not just like standard eggs benedicts. We have 5 different kinds. I hate making them because, say you have like 12 orders hanging up, you have 24 eggs poaching, and you only have a window of like, say, 20 seconds to pull out each individual egg, so you're like flinging them really quick and trying not to break them. This is, I tried to warn them. They need to kill this Hummel. 20 seconds. 17 seconds. Don't move. Thank you. If he had gotten, you know, a medal from surviving that and winning, I would have been really angry. But I'm glad we won right at the last second. Hello, Mojo. Nice to see you. Yes, definitely don't touch another part of your body. I got a mastery badge first class though. Not bad for first battle in this thing. You know, top damage on my team. The IKV 65-2 though beat me out as far as overall damage for the match. Pretty good amount of credit to that too, since I had a little bit of a booster there. All right, so let me add something into the top here. Thank you very much, Will. I will take a look at that in 1 second here. I need to take a look at the T-3485. Everything's going well though. I hope everything over in South Korea is going very well for you too. I haven't heard any bad news recently, so I hope, you know, everything's good over there. All right. Yeah, I don't know why I said 57. That was the T-34 medium, but yes, I used the 85 here on the T-34-85, the top, you know, basically the tier 7 gun for this. So let me hop into Mr. Indian Panzer here, or I kind of catch up on the chat here. Add some more biscuits for the raffle here. How do I like my eggs in the morning? I like over easy eggs. That's funny, Floyd. I won't repeat that joke. Hello, Jack C. Nice to see you. You can't download the test server? That's strange. You should be able to. Someone had a... like Floyd said, what I said is if you have the test server installed and it's not letting you log on, go into, you know, Windows Explorer, open up the test server client, kind of the folder, look in res_mod and see if it says 9.21 or if it says 9.22 common test. If it's 9.21, it never updated, so you have to basically go into the launcher or re-download and basically force it to update to 9.22. Sometimes test servers, you know, you just have to suck it up and re-download the whole client, or, you know, in the launcher for the test server, make sure you're opening up the right one. You can sometimes get it to force update. I forget exactly how, but it is possible. I was not expecting the Scorpion G there that fast. I don't know why I'm trying my hardest to kill 1 HP LTTB, but I am. Once we get the Scorpion G spotted, I will do my best to take him out. I don't think I'll get hit from the center. He actually went low. Not expecting that. And I bounced. Tried my best to bounce, or not to bounce there. I was staring very hard at him. It did not work. The longer I wait here, the more damage my team is taking. Crap. There we go. Just did not want to miss that second chance I had there. Alright. Scorpion G, please don't hit me. Team conserves their HP up here. Pop down, but I should be able to pop him right. Critical hit, 0 damage. You gotta love that. I get a lot of those. He's now aiming at me. But our south's doing pretty good, so it's no real hurry here. As long as we stay alive, our south should be fine, but I have a pretty good opportunity. I don't think we should push up here anymore. So I'm actually going to try to get this shot here. I missed both of those guys. I tried to line that up, but didn't work out. I don't think he even realizes that I'm aiming at him. It's just blind luck that he kind of shadowing me there and pulling back. Alright, the T-3480, or T-34-3, I should say, not 83, is pushing up like that. Gonna make sure I'm known here. I'm hoping this good, he's dead. Crap, he actually just got nailed. That's not good. Trying my best not to overextend too much because I don't have a ton of HP, say if the Borsig hits me. It's not like this thing has a ton of armor. Got those guys spotted again. I should have held on to my shot, but here we go. Trying to play a little patient though, because you know we are ahead. So basically, try not to make any huge mistakes, which that's a little teeny tiny mistake I did there. Should have kept myself, you know, a little bit further back. I didn't realize he was pushing up this road. Still throwing heat. He did use this repair kit, but I have a Jagdpanther 2 pushing up to help me. Let's get him tracked then. Should be safe pushing here now. Some pretty good match, you know, only 1500 damage, a little bit more than my HP, but you know, I got 3 kills. I helped my team kind of in the north and a little bit in the south, less than the north, but overall, you know, just trying to play for the win there. Let me start another raffle here. 1500 Levi biscuits for the winner, but I got a second class here. 3 kills, pretty good match. Let me queue up my next tank. And I'm not gonna forget about your PM. But thank you very much again. Thank you very much again, Will. I'll gladly give Levi, you know, a couple treats here. Definitely helps out given this weekend is, you know, it has some bonuses. Here you go, buddy. Hey. He's funny when he does this. You gonna wake up, dog? Alright. I'm gonna leave him treats there. Levi has, when he's actually like deep sleeping and he's not just like say like napping, you can scratch him pretty much anywhere, and when he's dreaming, like it's, you know, he's still breathing. When he's dreaming, he starts getting into his dream and he'll start like growling and, you know, kind of like, you know, kind of twitching a little bit. Nothing bad, like medically, but, you know, he gets really into his dream and he won't wake up unless you, like, you know, really pet him hard, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, he just woke up now. Thanks again, though. He enjoyed those treats there. Hey, Mr. IS3, will my team very kindly shoot you? I see a lot of people behind me. Literally our entire team. Hey, thank you, Artie. I would like to take advantage of this and push up further, since, you know, we have that, and that should push down there. But lemming trains, you know, while they aren't always the most effective tactic, they are really effective in public battles if you take advantage of them and you push really, really hard. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm dead here. He pushed really hard, but not like that. I just pushed into a tier 9 bat chat. Hey, make sure you chew. Ah, God. You alright? Come on. Here we go. Oh. Don't choke. He's fine. Come here. The toy. No. I didn't break up his treat enough, but thanks for distracting me. Granted, I died before that, but yeah. Unfortunately, I stupidly pushed into that bat. For whatever reason, in my head, I thought he dropped down. He didn't drop down. Sorry for whoever requested the T49. I thought Levi was just choking back there, but he's not. Thank God. Sometimes though he will just like vacuum clean his treats down like that. It depends on if, you know, going for the HWK-12 or the Indian, depends on if you want a medium or if you want a light tank Merlin. Both tanks, I would say, are good for their tiers. Thank you very much, Grigsby. I'm glad you like that battle. Yeah, Levi, he has a lot of dreams where you can tell he's, you know, he's kind of reliving, like, if we take him out into, like, the field in the woods, he's, you know, like, chasing after something. I don't really like the derp on the T49 or the Sheridan, but that was a stupid play by me, which congrats Victor on the raffle win. Unfortunately, you know, that kind of comes with, you know, sometimes I stupidly miss something and I'll get a little bit over aggressive. Hello, Fester. Granted, you know, our team probably should have pushed that harder, but, you know, it was my fault for pushing the T49 that hard that quick. Hey, buddy. No, you're not getting another treat right now. He's like, I need another. Ryan's, niece, I think? No, Ryan's goddaughter, I believe. Wait, I forget what exactly. I'm bad with, like, names, like, labels. So her cousin's daughter was here, and she kept wanting to give Levi treats, so he got a lot of them earlier. Come on, I hate the aim time on this, and also the ARL. The 39ers, I've never seen that before. Come on. There we go. Please don't hit me, Mr. Oni. Thank you. Actually, I'm gonna stop here for a second. Yeah, I feel like this tank, it would be nice if it had a little bit more armor, but mainly the aiming time. I don't see why the 90mm has the same aiming time as the 105. Like the ARL, both of the aiming times on that tank were terrible, where I don't know why it keeps the aiming time as bad as it does on the AMX M4 It's not like it, you know, it's not a bad tank, but it doesn't have anything, say, like, spectacular about it. Thanks, Floyd, for tipping Levi. Especially when you get whacked by a Borsig for 783 damage. I'll give Levi a tip after this. I'm gonna give him some of his bite-sized treats, though. Go figure that the Borsig pops up right when I kind of try to inch up a little bit to get a shot. I don't think they're gonna modify, I guess let him through too. I don't think they're gonna modify the ELC anytime soon. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I don't think that they'll end up changing it. Because I believe, like, stat-wise, it is kind of in line with the other light tanks of its tier. It's definitely not as fun as it used to be, but strangely enough, you know, outside of, say, like, I hate to say it's English-speaking community in World of Tanks, but say just like the NA and parts of the EU server, the ELC, from what I saw, like, people were discussing it. The, you know, Russian server didn't really have like a, you know, huge like crush on it like the other servers have. Yeah, I'm dead. I was hoping he'd hit the truck for me, but he didn't. Another crappy match as far as damage. I got 2,000 assists, but you know, we just all died. None of us stayed alive long enough to really accomplish anything. Here you go, little buddy. He's like, my whining worked. But I got the ELC up next here. I'll hop into that. I will say in its current state though, yeah, like I don't use the Top Gun on it. But, you know, in the current state, it is lacking a bit. I would say the best chance we have for the ELC to get changed, Wargaming's kind of switched, if you've noticed, to where they kind of do one nation at a time. Like they've done Germany, they've done the British tanks, French TDs, where they kind of focus in specific areas now instead of, say, buff one tank, buff another. I personally feel like they should just go and kind of go 2 tiers or 3 tiers at a time. I know that's a lot of tanks. Basically, they'd be balancing for every tier roughly, I believe, minimum 40 tanks, I believe, maximum 60-ish, if not more. Like tier 8, especially with the amount of premiums, they'd be balancing like 70 to 80 tanks, I believe. Oh, a toy? Sorry, I missed that. I'll give him a toy after this, Floyd. Which, thanks Lobobo for the tip. Yeah, I read that completely wrong. But I'll give him a toy after this. Alright, our team, this is not looking great for me. Whoop. I didn't see that you were right behind me. I kind of screwed you up though. I really did not mean to do that. You're probably really angry at me too. Granted, you probably would have died anyway, but that VK has every right to be mad at me. However, that's why you don't sit directly behind the tank. I just died though. Oh well, I'm having a really bad streak here. You know, buddy. Thanks for tipping Levi a new toy, though. Yeah, don't try to steal it from me. You want it? There you go. Thanks for tipping him a new toy, though. But yeah, that was a god-awful match there. I'm gonna, before I keep doing tanks here. Thank you for the tip again, Labobo. Before I get in any other tanks, I'm gonna pop into a couple 10s here before I do, like, I'm gonna do a Levi pick here, and then I'm gonna pop into another tank before getting to the Leopard Prototyp. As far as the Hellcat, like, granted, you know, I don't think they balanced it right when they changed the stats compared to what the tank should be. You know, it does, you know, wargaming works off of metrics to where they could make it a little bit more historical, you know, possibly remove the Top Gun on it to make it a little bit more mobile for its tier. But at the same time, you know, it doesn't have a terrible win rate as far as I know. But sorry for that match there, but honestly, when I'm playing bad, sometimes when I get, you know, tanks with not a lot of armor, like back to back and stuff, I don't do too well. And of course, this one's got a squeaker. He has a lot of new toys from, my parents gave us some of their toys they don't need anymore. But sorry for whoever requested those last couple tanks, because I had a little bit of a skid. Hey, no. Stop begging. He's been getting a little bit more demanding with his begging now that he knows he can eat certain things again. He actually, you know, unfortunately, we're probably going to pay the price over the next couple days. He stole a little bit of, granted it fell on the floor, but usually he doesn't go after food right away. He stole a little bit of mac and cheese from Ryan's cousin's, I don't even know the name, I'm just going to say niece, who was here a little ago. But he's allergic to gluten, so yeah. His allergy vaccine, it covers everything except for food allergies, because, you know, they're just mainly targeting like, you know, environment allergies for that, and we cut out any allergies in the food. So that's going to set us back a little bit, unfortunately. Yes. That's what I drink every stream. It's like 90%. And I missed. It's like 90% milk, chocolate milk, with a little bit of coffee splashed in it. Oh, thank you, Artie. I was not exactly expecting that. IS-7, I have a small chance to pen him, and no. The T-123, like, it's been my favorite tank for a while, but honestly, with the amount, like, say, like the Badger and like now the Russian tanks coming out, I would say it's actually getting to the point where the T-123 is getting power creeped a little bit. It's still a really good tank because of that alpha armor combination, and if you can utilize the gun depression, that helps too. But it's starting to kind of get power creeped, which is a little bit scary. And honestly, I'm terrified if Wargaming ever does try to rebalance it, because the last time they tried to rebalance it on a sandbox server,
they gave it a 120 millimeter gun and dropped its alpha down to, I believe, 440 damage, which kind of killed it. Like, it wasn't bad because it had a ton of DPM, but it's a little bit scary them thinking that that's fixing the E3. So unfortunately, I kind of screwed up the... I could have gotten at least one pen there. .263, you don't have to be afraid very well or afraid very much, because I'm not playing very well right now. I'm actually not already safe right here, which is probably going to come back to bite me. I took my chance there, but unfortunately the accuracy and aim time isn't best in this at times. If I drink too much caffeine, you probably would not be able to understand me. They no longer work for us, but this one, a girl that worked for us for a line cook for about a year and a half, whenever I would drink caffeine, would basically say I'm never allowed to drink it ever again, because I'd start like bouncing around the kitchen and like giving everyone like not too much work, but you know, making them do a lot more than usual. She's like, never again. It was kind of funny. Yeah, unfortunately, like, they're doing a pretty good job at avoiding me here. But unfortunately, usually in E3 I can kind of say like swing my gun around and get a shot in. Something like that, to where I've been missing those opportunities here. Where like if I had hit one of those earlier, I would have been able to kill that 263 right there. He has ammo racked me, unfortunately. He might actually be able to reload before me too. Our Artie actually killed him. I'm not terribly sad at that, but I will be if they realize that they can shoot me from behind here. I'm gonna try to help this guy, but I might die. Yep, I got tracked. That's not good. T100, you can do it. I'm really sorry, Type 5, you are on your own right now. Crap, oh, I just bounced too. T100, you're letting me down here, bud. Thank you. Oh, I just got tracked from that little bump. I would never have guessed that. At least our team won, but I feel I screwed up so bad that match. As far as damage goes. At least I didn't die early, but I was honestly surprised that the T100 bounced 2 shots off the E100 on the back. Oh well, at least we're gonna win. So I can say to myself sometime. Funny, oh well. Let's switch over to retro here. Go. Alright, so we have a Leopard Prototyp, but I'm gonna play one more tier 10 before we get into it. Why don't I hop? Actually, I haven't played a Badger in a while, you know. Where's your little toy? The E3, like the only thing the E3 has over the Badger is alpha damage. Literally, that's the only thing the E3 has over it. The Badger, and also penetration, I should say that. The Badger is more mobility, better armor, it's better at hold down than the E3. You know, they're similar, but I would say the Badger is better though, because you have a better left and right gun arc, so you can angle a little bit more than the E3. Which if you're hold down, people sometimes can hit you in the side on the E3. It's got better accuracy, a lot more DPM.
you know, it's not terribly like outclassing the E3, but it's slowly but surely, that's kind of the definition of power creeping to where it is better in the grand scheme of things than the E3, unless the E3 gets that first big shot in and the Badger bounces, say, 1 or 2 shots. My problem, like, you know, when it comes to like certain music and stuff, like since I have intros on my non-live stream videos now, YouTube, you know, I'd have to buy rights to be able to use that. Hey, no, can you please stop? Go lay down. I probably will say, you know, yeah, thanks for tipping Levi biscuits tonight, guys, but you know, please, because he's doing something. I don't want him to think that he can beg for a biscuit every time. Probably call it quits for tonight. I'm actually gonna drop it down to 0. This is the first time in a while that he's begged this much for biscuits here. Only my entire team on this flank is heading up there. That's not good. I'm going to not push up there, but I'm not going to push the town either because I can get flanked because there's only 2 of us. The toy this time, it's a lamb. I want to have to double check there. But that came from my parents, you know, have been basically whittling down their toys a little bit. And they've given us like I forget how many we have left in there. He's played with them before, but only when he was at my parents'. He played with them like once or twice, and he was stealing them all. So they're like, Levi will enjoy these more. Because their dog is, you know, it's getting up there in age to where, you know, she'll play with toys and just like want to kill the squeaker, but she won't actually like enjoy him as much. If he uses heat, I'm screwed. Yep, he's got heat here. Go figure. Thank you very much for the heat shells. I'm really saying that sarcastically there, but not surprised that a T-57's loading. Full heat, basically. I'm gonna try to hit him with Hesh here. I thought there was a drop back here, but there isn't. But this is where we really do need help here. That's why. Of course, there's a Badger over there. This is why you don't leave the town open. The mining town. The flank further to the north, it's harder to push because there's no cover between you and the enemies. And you almost always lose the flank beneath you before you actually make any headway. Unfortunately though, you know, I got myself a little bit too far out there to where I got a couple heat rounds into me. But yeah, now Artie can just finish me off. But like, matches like this with 30v30, like I do like Klondike, but when your team plays it wrong like that, like me, the PZ7 and the AMX 13105, granted he did lose a lot of HP early, and the PZ7 probably should have stayed back here or on this side. Pretty much work is waning there for the enemy just to come into us, push, and kill us, but really, you know, it doesn't make sense to, which they even lost this flank up here, push up here because you're still going to get flanked. Our south has a lot of people down there, but unfortunately they weren't able to push. But it's just one of those things to where sometimes with more people, more things can go wrong like that. Alright, so let me get to the Leopard Prototyp now. Like those matches, I screwed up on the E3 a bit with damage, but I've at least, I kind of got over pushing into my death like I did prior to those two matches there. He does associate the computer with biscuits, but I don't mind that usually. This is something like ever since I met him, because I knew him, Levi, about a year before we actually rescued him, but he is very good at begging. He's very smart at knowing how to pull on your strings, to where I've kind of, when we first had him, taught him, re-taught him that that's not okay. Like, you can come over and beg, wiggle your tail, and we'll give you something if you actually aren't allergic to it. But when he does it for say several minutes, that's where he's fine now. Like, he went and laid down. He's gonna have to remind him, because back before we got him, he kind of had to beg for food a ton because he wasn't being fed enough. Nor was he being fed food he wasn't allergic to, but he would have to basically beg for food to kind of get enough to even, he was 10 pounds underweight when we got him. A good paint for keyboard lettering? No idea there. If you're asking for individual keys on a keyboard, the only keyboards I've used recently have lights. They don't have any paint for the letters. But Levi, we actually I'm keeping an eye on his biscuits only because we gave him a lot before the stream here, since we had company over, and he actually does need to lose about 5 pounds, so I have to keep a close eye on what we give him. Anyway though, I have the M24 Chaffee up next. You have a STB1, T92 Lite, M44, and a T62A. I'm going to try my best to do all of them. I might run out of time maybe for one or two of them, but depends on how quick I die in these matches. Hopefully I don't die I wait it too long there. Not going to be able to pen this WZ11114 unless I have a heat. At least the keyboard I have, I don't have to worry too much about cleaning it. I can wipe down my keys, but it has holes in the back of it to where I can put just the nozzle from canned air, and it shoots out the front like any junk. Yeah, my problem is, I don't have armor here, to where I'm playing this a little bit out of its element, but I'm doing it because I think that's where my team needs me to be. I don't mind playing my tank a little bit risky, as long as I'm playing it to where I'm useful. Awesome. Now that I took one hit, I'll just hopefully let my team take a shot rather than myself. Levi might disagree, but it is something to where we have to keep a really close eye on his stuff, because his medicine's based off his weight too. Medicine's also several $100s. So, but since he's older, it's pretty important to keep a close eye on his weight. Unfortunately for this E100, the only way I can pen him right now is with heat, unless I hit that really small little weak spot on top of the turret. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep with heat for now. I'm tempted to kind of flex somewhere else on the map, but kind of hoping that we can push this through here. Right. Do something. I'm not concerned of that person's really angry in chat. I don't know why the Mountain's sitting back here, but I wasn't worried about the base. I guess look though, and there's nobody helping this Type 4 heavy to where this E50M shouldn't be able to do this by any means. He should not be able to push through here. I might actually get shot because like I'm sitting out in the open just to be able to get shots here on this E50M. I thought we had at least one person to help cover the Type 4, but we didn't. We're still most likely going to win this. The only way we lose is if our team stupidly, which I just saw they froze a little bit there, and doesn't push through the hill and kind of backs off. A little bit concerned because there's an E75. Just trying to stay to where, there we go. I knew he was going to hit me, but the E75, if I can get him out, this E50M shouldn't be able to hit me now. Focusing on one at a time. Right now the or not E50 or E75 or whatever. Killing this tank first was my prime objective there, because the E50M was behind cover. Now that he's out, I'll actually switch to HE because I should be able to HE this guy. They still have 3 tanks we have not seen. We are up by 4, but I would not say that, you know, this is completely safe, like for me just to run out here screaming. Sometimes like I do, like, please don't hit me. It's not gonna work here, but we'll see. Just I have a feeling that, yeah, I'm kind of out on my own right now, so I'm just double checking the best I can. Yep, there's a T49. You're such an awesome teammate, dude. To drown yourself, and he was in a position to where I don't know where he was, but we actually did not spot him. I was just trying to damage him because he'll have to pay more, but that's really bad sportsmanship there, honestly, for that T49. If we don't spot this Stug 103 soon, I'm just gonna shoot him some more because make him pay more. You get a penalty for drowning yourself to where you're actually doing yourself a disservice. Even if nobody damages you, you're paying more to drown yourself than you would just for an enemy to kill you. So I'll gladly shoot this guy a few extra times. I hate people that do this. Like, I'll give up a little bit of damage just to be able to do this, you know? But pretty nice window, you know, 3,100 damage, 2,100 assist. Not bad at all. That's a pretty big Pomeranian. Arctic, I would normally go to where I did. My team needed me on the hill. That's where I would typically go. Otherwise, you can go a little bit more towards the center, where most likely you see TDs, like along the water. But yeah, I most likely go to the hill there and then kind of flex back as needed. But top 2 damage on my team. Strav got a lot. Their T49, nope, you're going there, because not only did he drown himself, he was never spotted by us until he drowned himself. He only shot 2 times. Don't know what this guy was doing. He was not spotting. He was not actually participating. So, yeah. Anyway, though, onto the M24 Chaffee. I have not played this tank in a while. Used to be pretty much my favorite tank back when it was the top tier 5 light tank. when there were no other high tier lights. Levi's favorite tank? I don't know. If you're going off of like a dog name, the Walker Bulldog, but usually Levi's tanks, he picks either tanks I'm grinding, or if I'm not playing very well, he picks tanks I do pretty well with. Alright, I'm going to try something a little different here and spot a little bit, but we'll see how badly this goes for me. Got high hopes. Of course, someone out spots me. Probably the VK2801. Yeah. A lot of times, though, I find spotting the center a little bit better, as long as I can actually get back up here. The Chaffee, since it was, you know, rebalanced and nerfed a little bit, like other tier 5 lights, it is a little bit slow sometimes. It does bleed speed going up to rain. But sometimes El Haluf spotting the center, it's actually safer than, say, pushing right or left. I just had to take that extra shot because it's a T67. No other reason behind that other than it's a T67. So I had to shoot it. I actually do own one of those now. I own every single American tank in the tech tree. But you'll be surprised, pushing through the center is risky on this map, but a lot of times people do not cover it. To where you can get surprisingly far before anyone even tries to stop you. This T14 is an issue for me. I don't have a good chance if he, you know, can continue to shoot me, but I'm hoping this M4 gets greedy and tries to push out, but that's not going to happen. I don't even know if that guy can spot me or not. Come on, push out. Or not. I will also take that. My penetration is not high enough for that. Say the T67 is the only tank, you know, I did just buy it today, that I have where I have a combination of a camouflage net, binocs, the only tank I have those on, I believe, and then, you know, a gun rammer. Literally the only tank I have that combination on, because that's why it's a little bit unbalanced. Yeah, I don't have a crew as far as like Brothers in Arms, Sixth Sense and stuff like that yet, or Camouflage, which makes it even worse to fight against, but it'll be on its way eventually. Okay. Someone please kill the T67. M4 can one-shot me, so I believe the SG-100 can as well. I'm just being a little bit careful because, you know, we Technically, you know, we're not up a tank. We have one guy sitting in the base who can't shoot anybody. But they're doing a decent job over there. I guess I'll make a leap up. Now the Stug's moving up. Ooh, T-67 moved over here. Yeah, I'll push around this way. I think we all know where I'm going. Might get me in trouble if Artie and their TD tries to shoot me, but... Okay, I'm definitely spotted, but... Really? He got my kill. I'm gonna hope I get unspotted before someone else. Oh lord. The Bishop and their Artie just killed our E2 and this T-3485 still alive. I have no idea where he went either. That was just a pretty big swing. Hello, Marga. Nice to see you. Yep, we're still tied here. Okay. M4 pushed. Actually, our team is not hiding. Like, the two guys in the south are, but part of the problem is our team wasn't doing a good enough job hiding. I know that Bishop's close. He has to be somewhere to my right or closer to where he was firing. Should be able to hit him before he can shoot back at me. Awesome. I don't know where their T-34 is. That's part of the problem. He could be AFK. I'm hoping this SU-100 thinks I'm going the other direction there. There's the Bishop. Part of the problem is I'm not going to be able to kill this Bishop in time, especially because I just missed. Yep, I'm actually going to die here. T-34 is playing too. Oh god, I got their whole team. Alright, so Stug 4, or yeah, Stug 4, can you actually shoot? My problem here is this guy probably has a smaller gun giving him a pretty good amount of DPM. Only got one premium shell left. Alright, that actually worked. Whether or not I'm going to be able to kill this Artie's another thing. But I am really lucky I had that one shell left. Oh. Oh, he guessed right there. Kudos to that Bishop. That was smart by him. I outsmarted myself because I thought they were thinking I was going to pop up here, but kudos to that guy, and especially with hitting me. But, oh well. I did my best there, but... I don't think they realized that the bishop can hit him. But yeah, I would honestly, I'm curious to how this ends now. But that was a pretty good little bit there. A little bit of a run there for me, but that bishop, kudos to that guy. You probably played the bishop a lot. You see that people that play the bishop, it is a pretty good SPG for tier 5. Part of the problem is their bishop most likely is just going to move here, and he's going to be able to hit our AMX because it has a really good shell arc. Exactly what I thought was going to happen, but unfortunately, unless this guy repairs his track, the bishop will be able to hit him before he gets back. Luckily, he missed there. The AMX isn't even... Okay, there we go. Like, the AMX isn't even moving, but the bishop's basically set up right over there. Possibly that way, but he still actually is probably going to be able to hit him. But yeah, I'm curious how this ends, to be honest. I really wish, you know, it was 50-50 whether or not I should have done that. Even if I didn't go this way, it looks like the M24 was set up here, so they had both of these routes. I should have just went one further, and I would have been fine, but I did rush that just a pinch. If I had to say what I did wrong there, is I should have just taken the extra, say 20 seconds and pushed one further here, not this one. But, you know, had I done that, it would have definitely been safer. But, oh well. I just don't get why, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people that micromanages people, but you would think playing an SPG, especially, you know, tier 5 and the bishop's tier 5, he would know that the bishop can hit very well behind cover to where he's actually not safe there. So he needs to keep on moving. He's not able to turn fast enough, and yeah, he's dead here. But yeah, it's just unfortunate as far as the ending here. I actually kind of want to watch this, only because I think this is a pretty good match in the grand scheme of things. He did kill him. That's really where he was, so you have nothing to lose because a tie is a loss as far as experience and credits go. But this is honestly where, you know, since they took all chat out, you know, when it comes to matches ending like this, like I would probably send something to the person, be like, hey, let's have a duel in wherever, just for the hell of it. But most likely they're not going to see each other, and the bishop, with how he kind of set up against me, he's probably just sitting there waiting for the Hummel to get spotted first. But yeah, unfortunately it's probably going to end a draw, but yeah, we still have time technically. Just hopefully the bishop messes up somehow. The Hummel has a better view range. Most view range when it comes to like classes, they scale with each tier. Where I'm pretty sure the bishop and tier 5 SPGs in general have at least 10 if not 20 millimeter, or not millimeters, meters less view range than the next tier 6 arty. But camouflage can definitely change that. It's gonna, he might be here, and it's gonna come down to, honestly, if the bishop's set up facing this way, he's got the advantage, but the bishop probably tried to push and find the Hummel himself, going a different route. Oh well. Kind of an anticlimactic ending there, but it was fun while it lasted in the Chaffee. That was probably the funnest little, like, 2-minute brawling session I had in a while in a light tank. Just couldn't pull it out there. But I got an ace tanker, even though it was a draw, which counts as a loss. I got an Orlix medal. As far as damage goes, easily the top amount of damage on my team. Their bishop did a really good job, though. You know, he set up in the north, and he did a really good job fighting in the north. But grand scheme of things, you know, our team definitely made quite a bit of errors there to let them win it in the end. Not even just like someone said our team was camping and stuff. A couple people played a little bit safe, but you can't blame it on them. We just, you know, we definitely screwed up at the end a little bit. Myself included. I know I did well, but I could have just played it a little bit safer when I was trying to kill the arty at the end. So next up I have a STB1 coming up here. But it's been a while since I got a draw, so fortunately, you know, draws don't really count for anything. But moving along to the next tank here. You know, I have a STB1, then I have a T92 light tank, M44, T62A. I'll try my best to get to all these, but not sure if I'll be able to or not. So we got Klondike again here. Do I want to go south? I'm not sure yet. Said hi.
Hi. You go to 11?
AM.
You're not Bunny. What are you doing?
What? I was waiting for...
Prepping your steering fingers?
Yes. Ryan says hi, though.
100 Levi biscuits.
Yeah. But you're cold.
I'm cold?
I can feel the coldness coming off of
Yeah,
you.
it was pretty cold in Jamie's van when we got in it. So...
Ryan says she's gonna play the last couple battles.
No, no! I said nothing of the sort.
Which, Stula, I saw that you said you missed the Leopard Prototyp match. It was a decent match where even if, say, you like pop over to YouTube right now, you can actually rewind the stream while I'm streaming, and you can catch that battle if you'd like. You only missed it by about one battle by the time you rejoin the stream. AMX 30B learned why you do not push the center that hard. Oh, why the Girl 15 just yelled at people to move up. He's trying to get our team killed. While I don't agree that we should have TDs there, they're not in the worst spot for shooting into the center. She knows I was joking. No, Merlin.
should have some after this event going on. So, you know, the bonds kind of event going on this weekend, and it'll probably last about a week or so. Yeah, it's a little bit of a downer that I didn't pen him there. Playing this a little bit safe, but I'm definitely getting a little bit of assist damage, and we are, you know, inflicting more damage than what we're taking, even with that one guy dying. Fortunately, we're down by 4. And I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, start aiming south here, which the Grill 15 is pinging again. Like dude, the pinging hasn't worked so far. You should probably stop. Like, I am hoping that if I can keep this E100 here, swapping back over to AP. I'm not exactly already safe now, if they're already in certain areas, but away from that. I have to make sure he was not going to hit me. Badger pushed in behind me though. You can look on worldoftanks.com, John. It explains it pretty well. Basically, throughout the weekend, they tally up the entire server. So it's based off of, say, NA server, EU server, RU, they're all separate. They tally up all the bonds that everybody earns, and then after that, they release missions to where you can earn, I believe, up to 250 bonds per day, and you'll be able to collect bonds for playing after this weekend. I think it starts, or maybe it does start during the weekend, but you'll be able to collect bonds until basically the server runs out of that pool of bonds they earn the first weekend. Probably a bad idea. I just really wanted to get him down to one-shottable levels, but I just hope I don't get artied, because there's 2 of them there. Let's see, I actually didn't see. Oh, I actually didn't see what he had typed there. This TVP really needs to... No, I can't even... He's getting, that guy's getting blocked after this. Doesn't matter what somebody did wrong or something, you don't spam that amount of times. There, that guy's on my blacklist forever now. I really wish I knew where this other FV was. I know that they at least probably have 1 SPG back there. Kind of funny though, because people that do stuff like that, I don't think he realizes that even though he's trying to point out something someone else did, he probably just got blacklisted by at least like 5 or 6 people. I'm banking on there not being any other TDs back here. As far as to my left. I could buy us some pizza. I don't know how well it would ship. Please, oh, I was like, please don't hit me. I should be able to get, yep, he's now one-shottable. Even though I guess completely missed that. I say I should be able to get 3 shots in. Hit this grill, that would be awesome. Nah, that's not a good enough shot.
Only up by 2. I'm gonna take a little bit of a chance and go further here just to make sure we're not missing any SPGs. There is a mod that you can download to limit the amount of people, or limit the amount of time someone can ping before it blocks them in your client. But wargaming, unfortunately, like, pinging used to be different in the game. It was like a different kind of animation, to where it wasn't as bad as before. But once they changed it to this version, they removed the limitation for, you know, pinging in quick succession, excuse me. Maybe when I hit 1,000 people on my blacklist, I'll do a special stream. Everyone loves pizza, but I don't think people like moldy pizza. Awesome, thank you, Artie. They're down to 2 standard tanks. Pretty good match though for the STB-1. I probably have one more match after this, so that'll be the T-92 Light. I hope my low HP tanks over there kind of wane a second. You know, I might very much die here, like spotting Artie, but it'll at the very least make it easier for them to push if we can soften up their SPGs. Gonna keep shying left here. I just don't want to drive in a completely straight line and let an SPG hit me. But the STB-1 has a little bit of problem with gun accuracy, but it's still a good medium. Like, you see a lot of negativity about like this tank and certain other tanks at times, where for public battles it's still a good tank. It's just people will knock on it a little bit for like clan wars and stuff like that, because it's not like 100% reliable. I might get 183'd here, but further back. Don't know where they're... He's outside of my max spotting range too. This SPG is about reload it. Yep, there he is. Crap. I should have taken a shot on him, given that the 183 was moving. And I actually get 0 damage crit at him. Oh well, missed out on a little bit of damage there, but still a good match. You know, 4,400 damage, 3,300 assist. So, pretty good fight there. Thanks for requesting the STB-1 for whoever requested that earlier. Got ourselves an ace in it. That's what, 2 aces in a row now? So pretty good fight. Top 2 damage. You know, compared to the enemy team, a lot of damage as well. But, you know, it felt closer than it was. In the grand scheme of things, we still had a lot of tanks left. But, you know, I guess it felt closer because a lot of our tanks didn't have that much HP left on them. But pretty good fight, you know, good amount of damage, good amount of assists. Didn't block anything. I don't expect to really block anything in the STB-1 unless I have like lights, mediums, or lower tier shooting at me, because its armor, you know, it's not that great. Hold down, you can get some bounces with the angles, but you know, it's not going to win any awards when it comes to armor. Let me hop into a T-92 Light. I'll start a raffle here once I get queued up for this battle as well. Flip this little match out here. So this is definitely going to be my last one for tonight here. At some point, you know, I am gonna get more videos up for 9.22. You know, I did the first hour and 15 minutes of the stream on it, covered all the new tanks, but I am gonna go through and make specific reviews for like the tier 9 and tier 8 tanks I didn't cover earlier today with those standalone videos. So 2,000 Levi biscuits here for winner here. I'm glad you got to see that match, Sula. It is, you know, it is a good tank. I wasn't looking forward to it too much. I'm starting to like stutter here. But it surprised me. I did like that tank in the grand scheme of things. Whoops, I'm actually... I didn't have my hands on the keyboard for a second, but I actually was not alt-tabbed into the game, which is what panicked me for a second. Not exactly the best map for a T92 Lite here, in the least bit. I don't have anyone. I thought about pushing up here, but not enough people to go. Yeah, so this is going to be a toughie in a tier 10 battle. I'm going to try to spot on the hill, but I don't know how well that's going to go either. Actually, maybe I will... Somehow I was the one that spotted the T49. Don't know how that came about. Hoping I can squeak through here. I should be able to, given the speed and size of this thing. Hoping though that I will be able to get some cheapy shots into the center. Sometimes when I'm kind of bottom tier, I do like picking spots to where, yeah, their T49 knows I'm here, and I didn't see a silhouette. I just missed that. I like spots where sometimes people forget I'm in the center here, and I can get little side shots on them. Now it does kind of rely on my team hopefully helping me here with the LTTB, which that guy never actually pushed up, because, you know, this tank doesn't have a lot of firepower for it. Doesn't have, you know, especially, you know, if you're expected to fight a tank head on, it doesn't do a lot of damage per shot, which for whatever reason I thought the T49, since he got hit by somebody, was going to pull off. I might actually bail here. Yeah, 150% gonna bail, and I might actually die for doing this, but just gonna die staying up there. Nobody's even, you know, they're not gonna help the AMX 5120. I'm just gonna die from the LTTB if I stay where I'm at. And the people in the center, they have their hands full, so I don't really expect them to help me with the LTTB. I'm gonna try to set up further back here. And in a way, I feel bad, you know, for kind of ditching the AMX 5120, but I don't know why you would push out there in a French autoloader with the long reload between your magazines. Alright, I see. Honestly, I'm going to end up kind of right where I was before, but had I stayed there, the LTTB was going to kill me. It's kind of funny that I'm going back to the same spot, but I'm hoping that with him around that edge now, it'll be a little bit better for me. Glad the M48 didn't kill me. But here comes the LTTB again. I don't think the Badger is even going to be aware of it. From the looks of it. I'm actually going to pull back here since the M48 hasn't exactly noticed me yet, but as of right now, LTTB can be shot. Whether or not anybody is going to pick him up is another thing. It's just, I'm trying my best to do stuff here, but it's hard when, you know, I stupidly lost some HP early on, but everything that hits this tank is going to penetrate you. And it kind of ceases to amaze me sometimes that, or never ceases to amaze me sometimes that, here we go, the Centurion 7, instead of bashing your head into an M48, and all the tanks that are behind it, just flex over this side, help me kill the LTTB, there's no arty, and we'll be in a lot better situation. Now we did just lose a tank to the JPZ 100. Come on. You can do it. Like he's not able to run away from everybody. The T-57 Heavy should be able to kill him. There we go. And just, you know, once we finish tidying up the center here, we'll be in a pretty good spot. The center and the Type 5 should be able to be killed pretty easily. But unfortunately for me, penning this M48's next to impossible. I actually just tried to hit him with HE, but that didn't work. There's actually a T10 behind us, which... Oh! Their TD got me. Oh well. Oh, I died. I was trying my best with congrats Arctic on winning the raffle. Since you won earlier too, I'm going to select the... Whoops. I just screwed up. Completely forget that, guys. So I just screwed up the raffle. I canceled it. I tried to draw another winner, but I'll just add I just, you know, I'm not going to be around for 5 minutes here. So I added 2 Ace Tanker biscuits into the shop here that, you know, everyone will just get 100 coins instead. Whenever someone wins twice, I try to, they still get, you know, the win, but I also try to give out, you know, a second winner. But, you know, anyway, you know, hopefully we win this one. It was a pretty fun stream though. Had some highs and lows, but, you know, we got to take a look at all the new tanks, fortunately, in 9.22. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those matches. And, you know, we had, what, it was 2 or 3 aces today. I think it was 2 aces and 2 first classes, maybe? But, yeah, thanks for watching again, guys. I'm going to do my best to where, I don't know if it'll be tonight, maybe it'll be tomorrow, to where I'll get up some of the review videos like I did today for the new tanks for Tier 9 and probably Tier 8 as well. But I'll try to get those up. And then next stream, yes, Sunday. I'm trying to get my dates right here. It's just today, you know, I'm not back to work at the restaurant yet, but starting back on like meetings and stuff, so I'm having to actually keep a schedule again. You know, Sunday, you know, we'll be picking a Tuesday night stream Sunday, but I'll be back, you know, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time then. But otherwise, you know, thanks again for watching. Anyone that's interested in the test server, I would highly recommend it, to where you can at the very least say play some high tier tanks that you aren't sure you want, and you kind of want to see if you like the feel for them. But you know, it is worthwhile. You know, all it really takes is honestly just, you know, about 30 minutes to download and install it, so never hurts. Unfortunately, we lost this one. You know, even though I was bottom tier, I kind of beat myself up for matches like this, because I could have played that a little bit better, to where even if I got just like 2 or 3 more shots off, damaging shots, it probably would have changed it, given that, you know, the bat chat 310 HP, you know, this media or this TD, you know, is going to be one-shottable at the end, to where it could have been the turning point in the battle. But, you know, unfortunately, I didn't exactly play that all too well. I tried my best though. I wasn't playing very in line with my team though. But thanks again, you know, for watching. Have a very nice night. Have a very good weekend, everybody. See you around, and thank you very much for the new subscriptions, the tips, and also the gift shop packages as well, guys. Have a nice one.